Hey, Erkki Tuomo Antara Jaakkola here again. I'm doing we're back to our Finnish Talk and Variety Show. So welcome everybody to that. And I have my guest today is Ralph Tuttila. He's the leader of the Finn Hall band. And I guess what I could start off with ask what type of music do you play?
Well, our focus is pretty much on dance music for couples dances, waltzes, polkas, schottisch, mazurka, humpa, tango, those sort of things. We play mainly for dances, but we do some concerts too, and of course in a concert, maybe the music has a little more of a serious nature because of the listening and isn't necessarily danceable music, but we do play a lot of concert music too. And I might mention that the instrumentation is 2 accordions. One of the accordions is the vocalist, main vocalist, bass, 2 violins, and I play mandolin, and that's the usual configuration. But the violinist, interestingly enough, also plays nyckelharpa because she has a Swedish background, and that's a little different sort of fiddle, a keyed fiddle. And more recently, the fiddlers both bought horn fiddles from Finland, some instruments used in early recording studios back when they needed volume to be pointed right at the recording instrument. So we have a variety, and once in a while I'll pick up a harmonica too. So we do a lot of music and have a pretty big sound for what we do.
Yeah, when you're talking about picking up these violins that had their own volume on them, yeah, those are awesome. I can't imagine, you know, in Finland everything is so expensive. What those cost?
Well, that's a secret. That's a secret.
That's a secret.
We got a bargain directly from
good.
the manufacturer, who's an engineer for Fiskars of all the things. So I think he maybe wants some of those in the country to be played, and so
yeah, and it's
so it's worth seeing and experiencing these horn fiddles.
Yeah, those are cool. I don't think I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
And well, what about? Imagine you must have some recordings out there too.
Yeah, we've only got one so far. We seem to be so busy that we can't get schedule a time to get in the studio and do another one or more. We've got plenty of music that we could do it, but we do have one recording out that we did 4 years ago, right before the big Fin Fest was here in Minneapolis. And most of the same members are in there, but we had a different singer then, a female singer who has since moved on, and then our bass player who was with us then has died, and so we have a replacement bass player at this time. But we're all set to go in the studio pretty soon and get another one. So there's about 18 cuts on that first CD, and we still even have cassettes because a lot of our listeners like to use cassettes in their cars. No 8-tracks though. Sorry.
No 8-tracks.
No.
Of course, you know what, I can hardly wait till the next one. I don't know how many tangos you have on there, but I really love, you know, to listen to the Finnish tangos.
Yeah.
That's the big time over there.
We've got some new ones. Yeah, we've got some beautiful new tangos.
And
a lot of music that, if I might add here, that we, on our last trip to Finland this past summer, part of our focus was, and we had a Finlandia Foundation grant when we went over there to help us travel and learn. And so we took a lot of the music from a lot of Finnish American composers that they may have not heard, played it at our concerts and dances, and then spent a lot of time with local musicians in Finland, folk musicians, learned new material from them, as well as some older songs like where I was at my grandmother's village in Köyhäjoki. And so we've been playing a lot of those lately, and now we're ready to record some of those. So it'll be a lot of new music, some of it old music, but new to us and new to the audiences we play for.
How about the vocals on there? are many of them in Finnish, or it's a combination of Finnish and English?
Almost 100% Finnish, the vocals, at this point. At least the ones we recorded. We probably may do a few with some English vocals on one of the tangos in the future, but it's pretty much all in Finnish. But I don't think, many of our audiences and many younger Finnish Americans don't speak or understand much Finnish, and many of our audiences aren't Finnish, our audience members aren't Finnish, but they still enjoy the music immensely. And I don't think you have to really understand the language to understand the music and the feeling and the intent of the music and the message even that the vocals present. So we have a large following besides Finns, for sure.
It's trying to think of these Finnish songs, or the culture brings out the Finnish heritage, correct? Or
in terms of being expressed.
Yeah, expression through the songs.
Yeah.
Folk songs and.
Yeah, I think the Finnish music from way back it was influenced a lot by the Karelian district, which kind of borders Russia, and the old Kalevala tales and epic poetry, which they set to music way back so they could memorize it better, and they would sing these epic poems. They were pre-Christian for the most part, so those are brought down from hundreds and hundreds of generations back, and so much of those tunes, which were played on instruments like this, on this instrument, the kantele, are kind of the basis of a lot of Finnish music. Often minor keyed, not always, but often minor keyed, and very expressive. Some of the earlier music talked about. There were simple lessons. A lot of the Kalevala tunes. There were simple lessons about how a bride should behave, how a wife should behave in her husband's house. And those were pretty rigid times back then. But and just on everyday affairs about getting in the crops and so forth. And interestingly enough, they didn't talk much about war or violence, because the music was to be used in a charming way and a magical way. But the music evolved, I think, into what it is today in terms of folk music, with their own emphasis, but also some influence from Sweden, of course, because they border Sweden, and a lot of the fiddling tradition, and also the Russian tradition. So there's similarities going both ways, but Finland kind of sits in the middle. What seems to be expressed in the music, vocally as well as in the structure of the music itself, is often themes that relate to nature, longing for nature, sometimes lost love like most cultures, but more often longing for nature, and words about Finnish flowers in the woods and things of this sort. But there are a lot of other songs that just talk about simple themes, the sauna and the characters of the day. So it's a very earthy music for the most part. Yeah. Fun music.
I thought of something else here. Is what are some of the sources that one can research or find out about the Finnish songs, dances, and culture?
Well, right now, with internet, I think you just punch in some things in Google or other places, and you come up with a lot of results. For instance, with tango, Finnish tango.
Right.
You put in Finnish tango now as compared to 10 years ago, and you come up with just more than you can read in a week or refer to. But it does summarize what Finnish tango is all about and what it means to Finns. And again, that's often tied in with themes of nature and longing for nature, rather than compared to Argentine tango and the knife fighting and the urban culture. It's more often relates to nature. And other music as well. If you decide to research it or research folk dancing, the internet is a good source. Locally, there's If you want to know what's going on in terms of Finnish culture and doings, music and otherwise, there's a good site. I can't remember it offhand. A Finnish organization, maybe we could quote that later on.
Right.
A local Finnish
Yeah.
organization that has a lot of this information. Yeah.
Yeah, is there a distinction between Finnish and Finnish American dances, and et
Well, the
cetera?
music certainly has evolved a little bit differently. The older Finnish folk music that popular music back, now we call it folk music, that came over here a long time ago, is very often in a minor key, not always, but more often in a minor key, and compared to those Finnish American composers who tended to put a lot of things in a major key, and you can hear an American influence of early American music from the jazz era, from the bluegrass era, and a lot of other influences coming through there, whatever was popular. But they're very interesting songs too, and often the themes were the same. They talked about work of the people that came to toil as maids, women that came to toil as maids in America, lumberjacks, miners, the everyday struggles. That music, I don't want to say it's stayed stagnant. We've probably preserved that more here and pay more attention to that as some of the older Finnish music. So when we go to Finland and play that, they're amazed that we're almost in sort of a time warp here, because we often play these songs that their grandparents knew of, or maybe they heard but they haven't heard for many years, that came from Finland originally, and then they love to hear the Finnish American songs because that's the music of the people who have moved away, their cousins that moved away, and their uncles and aunts, and that were popular here and that we've still retained. So there's a little different flavor to it, yeah.
Yeah, that, what you just mentioned was, I think, brought up an idea here. Isn't there a reason why, let's see, there's American, besides Finnish people, they enjoy listening to the Finnish music, and why would they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, because otherwise it's like taking coals to Newcastle. That's what we thought in the past when going to Finland. And in fact, when I was there with the Tuttila group, Koivun Kaiku, way back in the 80s, that's what we thought. Why would they want to hear our music? And even though that was mostly Finnish, we brought some Finnish American stuff, and they were delighted that Americans and Finnish Americans and other Americans would take interest in that music. But now they're equally delighted because we bring back a type of music that's very unique, and it's not mainstream anywhere. It was mainstream here to Finns a while back, but we're preserving that, and a lot of people have recorded that besides us, but we hope to preserve it even more by playing it rather than just recording.
Yeah. And then what are the Finnish music, the lyrics? What do they mostly express?
Well, so much of it is, again, has to do with nature, things in nature, birds, trees, flowers, longing for this rural scene. Even the tangos have, usually express that sort of longing. Sometimes the lost love thing, and very often, like, as I mentioned before, the work songs, the everyday toil, and songs about characters. Of course, that's true in all cultures. When you think of some of the Mexican rancheros who almost idealize some of the bandits and so forth because they were the Robin Hoods, but there's a bit of that in Finnish culture too, and I think of songs like Isotalon Antti, Rannanjärvi. They were knife fighters and kind of mean characters, but there are songs about them too because they were very real way back when.
And what brings me up is a lot of the Finnish music is in the minor key. Is
Yeah.
that how does that go with the Finnish people, or gives you an impression of what they are?
Well, often people think it's because we're so sad and almost despondent people. I don't think that's entirely true. Finns are maybe a little more terse and not so emotionally available or obvious, but so they express it in the music. That's partially true, but sometimes the minor key just evokes more feeling and drama and energy, a lot of energy.
Right.
It doesn't have to be sad, and so Finnish music has retained that for the most part, and I think that's why it appeals to a lot of other cultures too, because they get involved in it and appreciate it and emotionally kind of attached, but they don't really know why sometimes. But it's the minor key, the expressive minor key.
What springs into my mind, when we were talking about tango before, and there was it was PBS or a TV station anyway, did a documentary on the Finns, and then when they were dancing the tango, then everybody, they weren't smiling in that, but how often do you smile when you do the tango? You got to be doing the polka when you're going to smile.
So true.
So it's just natural.
Yeah, it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, because I've been in Argentina too, and they smile even less during the tango. So they're so serious about it there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my time is running out again on this segment, and then the next segment's going to be some dancing again with the video clip. So.
Good.
It's been awesome having you as a guest here, and we'll have you again. And as they say in Finland, heippa hei. And bye, everybody.
Näkemiin. mean.
Thank you.